Now, if you want to give me host, you don't have to put your laptop down.
Here, you do that.
And, or you want to put the host. Can everybody hear us?
I can hear you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Good. This was crazy business. Just the background story here is that the meeting was set up by Shannon and she had to rush her daughter to a dentist appointment this morning. And so she has the password for the other account.
Password, but it was too late. It was locked.
So we appreciate everybody's patience.
I will write it down, at least I have the right one.
I apologize to our Afghan colleagues. Bismillah, are they, do you think the rest of the group will be able to log in? They logged in successfully earlier.
Yeah, I have shared the link with them with the WhatsApp group we have. So they'll get in, but I don't know if they lost their way to this room.
Well, thank you very much. Some of them are coming now.
So for the introduction, I know you, and that's Bruce, sir, and Stephanie, and yeah.
And Heather.
I don't know. Hi.
Hi.
So I know some faces in North Mountain.
Well, we know your face, Bismillah. You're one of the most senior members of the Future Generations team worldwide at this point. I don't know where you rank on the seniority list, Bismillah, but you're probably in the top 12 at this point.
Yeah.
So it's good to have that.
Dr. Rahimi, can you ask the other colleagues who are at the office to join the link and tell them to copy the link from SMT group?
Thank you so much. Sure, I will call to everyone if they are with our office in Kabul, and also we will share the link again through the other WhatsApp group as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rahimi. Peter, how's everything there in Tunisia? What we're doing? It's been a while since you and I talked. Everything going well with the family? And Tunisia's been in the news a lot. You've had some political unrest there.
Yeah, it's sort of normal now. I think we're kind of used to it. There were some elections the other day. Anyways, but it's okay. We're doing pretty good. We're doing good.
Well, every time I see Tunisia in the news, I obviously hope you're doing fine.
Yeah, thanks for the thoughts. My kids are dying to see what's going on in the meeting.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate it. Hey there. The little girls have joined. Hello.
Okay.
Well,
everybody.
Chris, while we're waiting for a couple more, would you please introduce yourself? Because you've worked with many of the Afghan team, but Chris is in Spain. So Chris Reiser, pardon me, Chris Roper, you already introduced yourself. So Chris Reiser.
Hello, good afternoon, or good morning and good evening. I've had a lot of honor working with the team in Afghanistan, seeing all of the pictures that they've shared from their work and just how they're doing just a wonderful job. And so thank you for having me today.
Well, we thank you for joining from Spain. So Heather, would you please introduce yourself? I think you're new to as many of them.
Yeah, hi. I'm Heather Harper, Administrative Associate here on North Mountain.
And Bruce, you've said hi, but Bruce, as many of you have had contact with also.
Yeah, Bruce Holdeman, manager of design projects, and I don't know, just
In charge of everything graphic.
everything, yeah.
And formally, I do want to welcome Stephanie Hartman. I think all of you know Stephanie, but Stephanie is the person who's the Chief Operating Officer. Stephanie, you're central to everybody's operations. So would you like to say hello? Stephanie also is in charge of the finances in addition to all operations. So she's really important for a number of things. Well, with this, with my deep apologies for the having to switch this meeting to a different site. It is being recorded now. And I very much want it to be recorded because this is an important historical information. We want to share this information with other people around the world who are involved with the Future Generations world family. And so that's why I was firm on wanting to have this meeting recorded. You will also get a copy of the recording so that you can use this. Heather will send you, or Shannon will send you a copy of the YouTube link so that you can share this with colleagues in Afghanistan. Thank you to all the members from our FGA team. I know this is late in the evening for you, and so I appreciate you coming to make this presentation to your colleagues around the world. And so with that, I would like to, I think it's the first presentation is from my good friend, Dr. Rahimi. If that is correct, then I turn it over to the Afghan team. I believe we have presentations today from Dr. Rahimi and Saqib. If I'm correct, with much appreciation and thanks for you sharing your excellent work that I just want to assure you, the whole world community is very proud of the work that is being done by Future Generations Afghanistan. And so we want to bring that out and share this around the world. So Dr. Rahimi, thank you, and over to you.
Thank you so much, the respected professor and rest of the FGA colleagues in the world from the different countries. I hope that the two-day presentation would be useful for them to at least know from the Afghanistan humanitarian situations and rest of the operation and project that we are implementing in more than 4 regions. So before to start, I just share my screen. Is it visible for everyone?
Yes.
Yes, please go on.
Yeah, thank you so much again for confirming the screen. Today, I would like to have two short presentation at the beginning and one presentation at the end of the rest of the colleagues. In this two presentation, I would like to share the Afghanistan humanitarian situations. One things, and the other things is the how the food security phases are categorized through the IPC processes. This is the first presentation. Over here is the humanitarian need overview and a humanitarian response plan for 2023. Then this slide is just as the map of Afghanistan, comparing the 2022 and 2023. In 2023, if we see there is the two provinces that was in the phase 3 or severe phase of the food insecurity, but it is turned to the 2023 the full severe condition or phase 4. So the phase 3 and phase 4 would be a new words for the most of the colleagues that I will touch upon them and will explain in the presentation as well. Before to discuss the complete and comprehensive humanitarian situations, we would like to know a bit about the drivers of the need and how the need is coming. So over here is the first point is the how the data is collected from the various assessment. There are several assessments conducted by the several cluster members. Over here is the few are mentioned over here: whole Afghanistan survey, 2 IPC survey, nationwide, national smart nutrition survey, and rest that we will see in the rest of the documents. So these needs are combined, collected from the different sources. And the overall drivers for the humanitarian need in Afghanistan is the drought. That is the in 2018 and 2021, and it will in 2022. So that's the drought also impacted the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan, where the main source of the income of the Afghan people are the agriculture. There's both in the urban and rural area. And the second area, which is mostly defined and stated in document, that is the protection and security issue. Restriction on women, participation in society, protection of the girls from the schools, even protection of the women work to in NGOs and other areas. So there's also cause of the humanitarian need in Afghanistan. And the other drivers of the need is food insecurity. Though there was previously humanitarian need was distributed and slides that the precipitation was good, there was expectation that slight improvement will come, but the highest number of the people is still in the severe food insecurity phases. So this food insecurity state is still in place. The other factor is global and local economic shocks. That is clear for everyone. There's most of the Afghan people's livelihood lost. The biggest driver of the urban area and rural area, the household income is also mostly spent on the food items. In 2021, all of that was 65%, but in 2023 it reached to 73%. It means most of the Afghan people, they are spending their incomes on the food items. From other hand, the income is low, so there is low expenditure rate on the basic needs. The other factor is access to services. In most of the areas, the infrastructures, particularly the health and education sectors, their basic infrastructure and rehabilitations they still need, and DFA is not in a position from the economic perspective to contribute to the basic services. At least the Afghan people have to have access to them. So if we see the overall humanitarian situation, particularly the food insecurity or the severity of need is increasing day by day, and coping measures means negative coping measure is also enhancing. Tanisha, if you could please unmute your mic, it will be better. So this is the common humanitarian drivers or need in Afghanistan. If we see the need trends from 2019 to 2023, in 2019, we had 6.3 million people in need, but it was reached or higher in 2020, 13.9 million. And in 2021, it reached to 18.4 million people were people in need. But in 2022, this figure reached to 24.38 million people. But if we look to the scenario and drivers in 2023, it is expected or it is planned there's 28.5 million people are in need or they need the humanitarian assistance. So 17% increase the humanitarian need in the Afghanistan. So this chart or this slide also show different humanitarian needs based on the sector wise. Foods, FSAC is the major sectors where FGA also having a lot of project in the FSAC sectors. So in 2023, there is 21.2 million people in need from the FSAC perspective. A little bit decreased from the last year perceptions. That was the prediction phase. That was the loan that most of the people will have the worst scenario, but not happen. Luckily, we will have in the positive stage minus 11%. So the second one is the essential shelters and non-food item, ES and NFI. It means there's also 9.7 million people in current need. If we look to the health sectors, it also reached 17.6 million people are still people in need from the health perspective. And nutrition sectors, we have in 7.2 million. 8% is decreased in this sector as well. But if we look to the wash sector, previously we had in 2022, 15 million, but it reached to 21.2 million, 40% increased that Afghan people not have either to clean waters, or there are a lot of water diseases, or there is no facilities in the schools, water sanitation and hygiene facilities in school, in clinics, or even in the refugee and IDP camps area. So this is the remarkable attentions in 2023.
Okay, Dr. Rahimi,
Yes.
This is Daniel. I just want to give everybody an important statistic. The population of Afghanistan is 40 million people. So when you're seeing 28 million people in distress, or 20 million, you're talking about over half the country. So for those of you in Afghanistan know this, but I just want my international colleagues to realize what the base population is, which is at 41 million people in Afghanistan. So I'm sorry to interrupt, but these are very important statistics, and I thought people should have the base population.
Yeah, thank you so much. Even the international recent assessment and the debates in WFP and rest of the donor meetings, more than 90% of the population needs the humanitarian assistance support in Afghanistan. So this is the overall the figure trends, how the humanitarian needs getting higher, how the cost of the humanitarian need increased. Nowadays, there is in humanitarian need, one perspective is the availability of food or non-food items or services. From other side, the increase of the prices and the support services, hygiene, education prices also wing up. What are the main driver of the cost of these services or these food items? Mostly in the humanitarian cluster meetings, Ukraine war and global commodity shocks, one of the factors that's increasing the cost or driver for the cost. And the regional shock, Pakistan floods, most of the international communities also contributed and reduced their contribution to Afghanistan, and they also supported Pakistan flood affected populations. So the third one is the local economic collapse. Without any increase from the salaries, there is no any purchasing power, there is a loss of the government employment opportunities. So that's also having economic collapse. And there is a 13 to 15% of the high cost for food globally from the different perspective. And well, here in Afghanistan, we are providing the humanitarian assistance, particularly for food and cash, based on the specific criteria in survey. That's also food basket. We call food baskets also increased by 20% from the cost perspective. And the minimum expenditure basket, this is another survey also conducted or regularly conducting, which also increased by the 28.75%, which includes the cost and the cost-based factors. Could you please, Gul Ahmad brothers, mute your mic? And the other factors which also contributing to high cost is the operation cost. Nowadays, there is mahram issue with the female for the beneficiaries working with the organization. Still, it is banned, but the mahram issue would be some cost factor for the different humanitarian aspects. Private sectors, trade factors, that's also contributing the cost of the humanitarian services in Afghanistan. This is just of the another calculations, cost per persons. This is also trend from 2018 to 2023. So in this slide, I will touch upon a few points. Look to the first sectors, education. If we see in 2018, it was 75%, $76. In 2029, it's become 97, and also increased in 2022, $180. But it also dramatically decreased in 2023 as a $69. It means minus 36%. What does it mean? It means that the education, spending on the education, spending money and having the power to purchase and to support their children, girls and boys in the schools, that's decreased. It means the enrollment will decrease. The Afghan people will not send their children to schools. They will use them for their daily wage, or they will use for the additional support to be contributing to the Afghan families' incomes. There are additionally also the early marriage also linked with this factors. There's most of the early marriage will happen. So we will not discuss much about this, but the trend is telling us like this. But if you see to the protection sector, the protection sector also got the negative percentage 14. It means there will be a lot of protection issues. It means the risk for the protection sectors will increase. Either there will be GBV, human rights, education rights, health rights, or other basic rights for the women and girls who are banned, their restriction on their movements. So if we see from the health perspective, in the health perspective, there is 12% increased What does it mean? It means that costly health services, high cost facilities, or there is unaffordable health services for the rural Afghan women or men who they need to have the access, services or access to health facilities. But dramatically, if we see to the nutrition cluster, it's also a change from the it's 38%. Somehow it means there's access to health sector is also problematic for the rural communities. In future, there will be high malnutrition, acute malnutrition for children, chronic malnutrition will be increased with these sectors. So if we see the trend from the cluster point of view, the need in 2022 and need humanitarian need in 2023. This is the classifications are divided, are the needs based on the various sectors that exist in active in Afghanistan. Education cluster, just to be familiar with the clusters. There is education clusters, emergency shelter and non-food items clusters, food security and agriculture cluster, health cluster, nutrition cluster, protection cluster. Under the protection cluster, there are sub-clusters that's called general protection, child protection cluster, gender-based surveillance sub-clusters, mine action cluster, HLP means housing, land, and property dispose. Water, sanitation, and hygiene, wash cluster, aviation, and coordination. So in this figures, and this slide shows there's in 2022, we had 24.4 million people in need, and there was the requirement for the international fund was $4.4 billion dollars. So if we see in 2023, it means the higher needs or people in needs is, or it is 28.6 million people with 17% increase from the previous year. And still there is need for $4.6 billion to provide the humanitarian services in Afghanistan in various sectors. So still the number of the need of the peoples, and also increase the demand to support the Afghanistan humanitarian services by 4%. Is it good? That's I think it will be good to discuss generally rather than to talk in each cluster base that we will take much time. Is it correct for the international colleagues at least to have a flow and information of these things, or should I go to based on the cluster wise to see or to discuss more about this?
This is absolutely a very frightening situation that you provide, but we can get some of these information through the media. I think what we need to know now is the emphasis of what FGA is doing to these larger crises rather than reviewing them. So could you focus specifically on the FGA work, please, Dr. Rahimi?
Yeah, this is just, I got information from Shirzai said that's in the first presentation, we will give the information about the humanitarian clusters, information needs in IPC phases. Then in the regional presentation today, me and Saqib said how that we will present what we are doing, how we are contributing, in which area we are contributing. That will be covered in the regional central region presentation and also in the East regional presentation. This is the generally strategic priority for the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. Still the increased focus on the seasonal package. It means continuously based on the severity, based on the need of the Afghan people, there is no enough funding. That's why the focus have to be a seasonal package from the geographic location, from the severity of the clusters, from the perspective where there is basic needs is needed for the to be supported and to provide assistance. The second option is the second project strategic priority is to have the intersectoral approaches. It means previously there was also intersectoral coordination cooperation, but mostly independently. Each sector have their own priorities and working budget and money. But due to high need and less funding sources and confirmations, so the humanitarian cluster members emphasize that we have to have in future intersectoral approaches to ensure the comprehensive response to the targeted populations. So the third strategic priority is to remain more focused on humanitarian activities rather than the other infrastructure or basic need, or like nexus or basic needs supports. So still the humanitarian or basic life type of support is the having the top and first priority rather than the resilience and humanitarian and the development aspect. So that is the strategic priorities. And from the cross-cutting priorities, gender equality, women rights, women participation, women education, freedom for movements and works. This is also priority for the humanitarian cluster and members to work for. From centrality of the protection is the protection issue is still there that have to be considered in mainstream in all sectors, in all programs. So though there is a lot of issue, there's women are not allowed to work. There is a lot of concern with the humanitarian teams. There's how they will select and identify the female beneficiaries by male. There is no allowed to discuss and talk with them. How male will do the selection process, how the male will have the interview with them. So a lot of discussion is still going on. From the age, gender, and disability inclusion programming, it means there's all these age and then gender and disability criteria have to be considered where each cluster prioritizing or developing their programs. So here are the, this is the last slide. For this presentation, I have also another small presentation. Here is the key messages. What are the key messages for the humanitarian response providers or international communities and rest of the national NGOs? Afghanistan is still remain dependent on the humanitarian assistance. So the aid is not sufficient to protect the catastrophe or famine stage, but it leads to support the people to be from the crisis or the worsened scenario. Humanitarian partners have stayed and delivered, though the situation working in Afghanistan, working with the current environmental is a little bit strange and difficult, but the humanitarian partners committed and stayed for delivering the humanitarian response all over the country. Another issue is finding an access to preliminary this is somehow created a problem by the de facto authorities. It means that restriction on women remaining obstacle for the implementation, with the fear that international communities or donor will not provide more funding. So there is the inflation cost also associated with the future programming that will be somehow increase the cost per persons. The last message is the greater investment services is needed to address the basic critical infrastructure that will support the long-term the humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. It means the health, wash, rural livelihood that have to be much focused and provided the money and support to these cluster, which also contributing to the overall humanitarian needs. So this was the brief presentation from the humanitarian perspective. We will have another small presentation that's called the IPC, food security phase classifications. And if there is any questions that I will take, and otherwise we will go to another presentation, small presentation like this.
Thank you very much, Dr. Saab. I think it is time for going on, because rather than taking to the questions right now, because we have to learn more in order to be able to respond better. So with that, let us move to the next presentation, and then we will, of course, be doing questions, but from at least the international side, I want to get the most comprehensive understanding. So thank you very much. It makes me very sad to see the challenges that you have to do. It makes me very proud to see what you folks are doing. So for the next presentation, please. I think that is Saqib, or is that you, Dr. Rahimi?
The next presentation, I will also provide the next presentation.
Okay.
Later on, Saqib Sb will provide the rest of the presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Let me to connect the other presentation.
Dr. Seb, just click on the presentation. It will be open. You had some presentations in your screen.
Yeah, over here is the IPC presentation.
Okay, thank you.
This is the also important tools. Over here in Afghanistan, all the humanitarian pool fund is looking to two documents. One is the humanitarian need overview and humanitarian response plan, which is presented, and that's collecting done by the multi international national NGOs, with the contributing from the line department as well. The second important reports in document is the IPC integrated food security phase classifications. So this is the over here is just I put it some definition of the what is IPC. IPC, most of the colleagues are better in picture. There's IPC is a global classification for acute food insecurity, chronic food insecurity, and acute malnutrition. So this document is preparing by the all the humanitarian international experts, with the support of the international donors, with the international NGOs, with the national NGOs, and collecting from the various assessments and survey from the all over the countries. So this IPC have 4 key values. One value is all that the information have to be evidence-based, technical consensus among all stakeholders who are involved in the humanitarian programming. So the second core value for this IPC is this is an approach that consolidate wide range evidences to classify the severity, magnitude, and identify key drivers. So the second factor is how to consolidate all over the evidences and to identify the magnitude, severity, and key drivers of the humanitarian needs. And the third key value and for this IPC is to provide actionable knowledge for strategic decision making. This document is the proof for the donor communities in a document to decide based on the document's evidences. And the fourth one is to have the rigorous and nature analysis from the continuously. So that is the 4 core value for the IPCs. Over here, you may see a lot of presentations, notes, and figures. There's the number of the Afghan population are in the phase 1, and this number of the Afghan populations are in the phase 2 stress phase, and this number of the Afghan peoples are in the phase 3, phase 4, and phase 5. Just over here, the table shows how the phase 1 is coming from which areas, and phase 2, how they are defining the phase 2 populations, how they are defining the phase 3 classifications, and phase 4 and phase 5. In the left side, we have the first level outcome indicators, second level outcome indicators, and contributing factors. Based on these two outcome level indicators and contributing factors, the populations are dividing by the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 5. And just I will explain the one a row of the phase 1. If the food consumption score of the community is adequate and livelihood change in the community is also sustainable, and the outcome number 2, nutritional status is also minimal, and mortality rate or child death rate is lower than 0.1% per 10,000 per day, and also food is available adequately, and hazard and vulnerabilities in normal or minimal stage. So this, if they found the population or lay or found in these criteria, that's coming under the phase 1. If it is coming to the stress stage, so there will be a lot of people in phase 2, phase 3, also phase 4. Based on the severity, based on the classification of these factors, all the Afghanistan population are divided in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 5, and phase 4. So these are the IPC analysis partners. We are contributing up to the analysis phases. It means FGA is taking part in the field assessment, FGA is taking part in conducting the field level assessment, FGA is also taking part in the consolidation of the data to the clusters. But we are still not a permanent person from the FGS side to be is in the IPC analysis. So that's why FGA is not present in this slide. But we do have contribution, and we do have the presence in the IPC assessments. So these are the main data sets. That's the surveys, REACH survey, whole Afghanistan survey, FAO data, WFP price and monitoring bulletins, fuse nets, climate change, precipitations, and provincial seasonal calendar supports. IOM is also providing undocumented literacy data reports. OCHA is also providing the IDP data and natural disasters conflicts. UNISAR is also providing the returnees in refugee figures and trends. IMAP is also providing the various maps and scenario regarding the climate change, precipitation, temperature, snow, and rest of the estimated risk from the natural disasters. WFP and FSA also, they are providing a huge partner of the food securities. So nutrition cluster, NGOs, INGO, they're also contributing, and there's a lot of other assistance providing to the main IPC and members, and they are based on that they are classifying the whole population of Afghanistan in various phases. So, and this is the current September and October 2022 a scenario where the Ghor, Nuristan, and Badakhshan is remain in phase 4. It means there is the emergency situation in these 4 provinces. So, and that was 17 million people were in phase 3, and just we saw that there's a lot of criticality and how the phase 3 will be. Therefore the whole map is in phase 3, and this 3 or 4 provinces are in the phase 4 stages. This is the projection November to March 2023. If we see the map, there is a lot of provinces will fall under the phase 4 classifications. Badghis, which is where we are also contributing and having ongoing projects, Balkh, Faryab, and Ghor, Nuristan, Badghis, Badakhshan, Paktika, and Nimroz. Around 4 and 5 provinces, we are currently also implementing projects that's fallen in the under the phase 4 category of the IPCs. It's the emergency situation, emergency need for food and humanitarian assistance. So the food insecurity key drivers also, as we discussed earlier in another presentation, economic decline, high food prices, and dry spell, drought, continued drought, even in that Afghanistan will enter to the third continued drought years. Reduced income and unemployment, disaster triggers by the rapid onset of the natural hazard. These are the key drivers of the food insecurity in Afghanistan. What are the key messages from the IPC classifications? It's absolute term. There's the number of the people projected to be increased more in emergency level in IPC phase 4. It means that 20 million people will be in IPC phase 4 plus categories. So the another projection or key message is that severity of food insecurity is remain at the high level, food insecurity. The third one is the HFA humanitarian food assistance, and the scale and duration has averted by IPC phase 3 population from falling into worse phases. It means that more of the humanitarian food assistance will target the phase 3 and phase 4 population, rather than providing the additional support, at least to prevent that these populations will not go for the catastrophe or famine phase. Need remain high. It means the urgent action is required to save life and livelihood in Afghanistan. The other key message is confirmed funding is still not in a high level or the expected level. Still, it is remain in low. So if it is not increased, that's the most of the IPC phase 3 population will fall into worsened scenario or phase 4 phases. So the third key message is the emergency IPC phase 4. There are a lot of populations still in phase 4 and phase 5. So that have to be not excluded or not considered, that will not go to phase 4, phase 5. So it means phase 4 population, if they're not provided the support, so it will fall again to the catastrophe or famine phases. That is called phase 4, phase 5. High level advocacy and resource mobilization efforts is needed. That is from the donor perspective, international communities, all of the clusters are there trying to draw the international community attention toward the high food insecurity or high humanitarian needs in Afghanistan, to increase their or to continue their funding and support to Afghanistan. And the last one, key message is advocate for the development supports. Not only the humanitarian support will be not enough. That's why the if it is not combined with the development or resilience-based type of support, so all these support will be only targeting the humanitarian perspective. So what are the humanitarian consequences? There is fear and anticipation or prediction that the IPC phase 4 population will increase, possibly to link or to fall into the IPC phase 5, which is the catastrophe and famine phase, which is so bad. An increased level of the malnutrition in Afghanistan for women and particularly for children. Large scale of displacement to neighboring countries or even to urban area and sectors is also predicted. There's large scale of the displacement will happen, will occur if the situation continue. Increased role in urban migrations, that's also expected that will happen. Weakening rural and farming livelihoods, and protected food insecurity by beyond the 2023. It means that the food insecurity will go beyond and will go to the severity phases, or that's called the protected or prolonged food insecurity in Afghanistan. So what will do, or what will happen, our way forward, what is the plan? What here is the considering the multi-sectoral nature of Afghanistan crisis. Food and agriculture is one of the major components that have to be followed and supported. And additionally to this food and agriculture sectors, there is additional support is required for the WASH, nutrition, and other sectors as well. There is a need to have a continuous engagement with the de facto authorities, at least to convince them or for the action against the banning of the girls' educations, or there's also limiting the more funding to Afghanistan. And the other way forward is there's the food insecurity drivers may increase, or provision of humanitarian assistance only not support or enough for the to cover the situation. And the technical working group also monitoring the situations will require to update the analysis, the figures. Even in the March, there will be additional pre-lean assessment might be changed, or more the situation from the phase 1 to phase 5 will be the number will be changed. And there is also IPC is planning a pre-lean season in the March. There's also the IPC planning stage. So these are the just overlook and information regarding the IPC and humanitarian situation in Afghanistan. So FGA intervention support will be discussed in the presentation by Saqib Sb from the East region, later on from Central region from my side, and tomorrow there will be the presentation from the South and West side by Fazil Sb and rest of the colleagues. Thank you so much, and looking forward for your questions. And thank you for your patience. It was a lot of discuss, and soon I completed the presentation. Looking for your question.
Dr. Rahimi, thank you so very much. We will, because we were delayed in starting due to the recording problem, which I'm so glad we have this recording so we can circulate it. We will be ending this meeting in another 30 minutes. So in order so that all the presentations from Saqib and you get a chance, we will keep moving. But since it's a 2-day meeting, we will certainly have questions. But thank you very much. And let me just say, on behalf of all your international colleagues, our concerns are with you. That's why we called this meeting, so that we can understand better how to support and how to work together. So Saqib, it's thank you. Thanks, Dr. Rahimi, and I welcome Dr. Saqib's Mr. Saqib's presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sb. If you could please turn off the screen sharing, so I will share my screen.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so I have shared my screen. If you could please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you very much. I even see some strange man from the United States in the middle of it.
Yeah. So it reminds us a memory that when you visited Afghanistan in back July 22. So it was a very pleasure time. So good morning to all the colleagues in United States and my colleagues in Afghanistan. I can say good evening to my colleagues. So thank you so much, Dr. Rahimi, for a very productive and very good presentation. Before starting my presentation, I would like to share a video film shared as a documentary for the East region. Particularly, it shows the operations and the activities we are doing in the East region. So this will also give you a time up, a kind of rest, and you hope you will enjoy this. So let's see past this video and then we will go to the presentation.
Future Generations افغانستان د افغانستان راتلونکي نسلونو موسسه یو غیر انتفاعي غیر دولتي موسسه ده چې د افغانستان اسلامي جمهوریت د حکومت نادولتي موسسو د قوانینو له مخې تنظیم شوی ترڅو د افغانستان په ډیرو لري پرتو سیمو کې ټولنې متحرک کړي او د دوی د ډیرو اړینو اړتیاو لپاره دوامدار د حل لار ومومي.
Future Generations افغانستان یا د افغانستان راتلونکي نسلونو نړیواله موسسه د نړۍ په کچه په اوه هیوادونو کې او په افغانستان کې په 18 ولایاتو کې خپل فعالیتونه ترسره کوي. زیات فعالیتونه زموږ په بشري مرستو او همدارنګه انکشافي مرستې دي. هیواد په کچه موږ د 1200 په تعداد باندې سټاف لرو چې زموږ منیجران او همدارنګه معاونین او اداري او ټول سټاف زموږ تقریبا 1200 خواوشا برابر دي. په اوس وخت کې موږ تقریبا د 3000 میټریک ټن په اندازه په هر میاشت کې خوراکي مواد توزیع کوو. همدارنګه د 10 میلیون افغانیو په اندازه هر میاشت نقدي مرستې توزیع کوو.
دا موږ ډېره ګټوره ده. موږ دا ډېر کومک ته زموږ واس نه کېږي. موږ همدې ډبليو ډېره دعا کوله. نومان له یو ورور نوم معیبه دی او زه معیبه یم.
نوم مې عالیه ده. د ننګرهار ولایت د بیسود ولسوالۍ اوسېدونکې یم. موږ په خپله په کور کې چې دی 9 تنه یو او دا چې تاسو ته بهتره معلومه د افغانستان حالت بیخي د فقر سره مخ دی او مرستو ته موږ ضرورت لرو. د WFP دغه مرستې چې FGA توزیع کوي دا باید نور هم پراخه شي او ډېرې ګټورې دي زموږ لپاره ده.
د افغانستان راتلونکي نسلونو موسسه ژمنه ده چې د بشري اصولو بشرپالنه بېطرفي بېپریتوب او عملیاتي خپلواکي په رڼا کې خپلو فعالیتونو ته لومړیتوب ورکړي.
دغه کارګر چې تاسو وینئ کار کوي دا د WFP پروژه ده او FGA تطبیق کوي. دا موږ او دا قومونو ته او دا خلکو ته ډېرې یو ګټوره پروژه ده چې زموږ سربند جوړېږي. زموږ محصولاتي مځکې زراعتي مځکې چې دغه بند نه دغه اوبو نه موږ استفاده کوو نو دا استفاده ډېر ګټوره او خیر موږ ته تمامېږي.
د حرفوي زده کړو دا دلته تطبیق کېږي. موږ ته ډېر ګټور دی. زموږ چې کوم اقتصاد دی هغه پیاوړی شي. موږ پر ځان باندې بساینه وکړو. زموږ د فقر کچه چې کوم دی هغه راټیټه شي او موږ چې کوم دی آزاد او مشروع کاروبار لارې چې کوم دی ګټه ترلاسه کړو.
په دوه ولایاتو کې زموږ حرفوي زده کړې جریان لري د ښځینو لپاره چې هغوی ته د کار زمینه هم برابر شي او همدارنګه د خپل معیشت او د ژوند لپاره ګټه واټه وکړي. د زراعت په برخه کې هم موږ ډېر فعالیتونه ترسره کوو. دهقانانو سره د اصلاح شوي تخمونو مرسته، همدارنګه هغوی سره د سامان آلات ماشینري چې د هغوی سره په تولید کې کومک وکړي. همدارنګه هغوی ته تخنیکي مشورې او ټریننګونه هم ترسره کوو. دهقانان هغه دهقانان چې هغوی ځمکه کمه لري او کار زمینه ورته مساعده نه وي هغوی سره هم د نغدي مرستو کومک د کار په بدل کې کېږي. زموږ مهم ډونران WFO د UNDP د نړیوال بانک دی چې دا هغه ډونران دي چې موږ ته مالي تمویل کوي. تقریبا د 15,000 په اندازه خلکو ته د کار زمینه برابر شوې ده چې هم دوی سره میاشتنۍ نغدي مرستې د کار په بدل کې کېږي. همدارنګه دوی خپله په خپلو ولس ته خدمت کوي. په خپل کلو کې ویالې او سربندونه او د دې پاکول او د دې جوړول هم ترسره کوي.
د افغانستان راتلونکي نسلونو موسسې د ټولو برنامو د دوامدار او لا پیاوړتیا لپاره ځانګړي څلور اصول لري. په ټولو برنامو کې ورته لومړیتوب ورکول کیږي او ګټه ترې اخیستل کیږي چې د سیټ سکیل په نوم یادیږي.
لومړی اصل د ټولنې د بریاونو ګټه اخیستل.
دویم اصل درې اړخیزه ملګرتیا په پام کې نیول.
دریم اصل ټولې پریکړې باید د شواهدو پر بنیاد وي.
څلورم اصل د ټولنې په رفتار کې مثبت بدلون رامنځته کول. او د یادونې وړ ده چې د افغانستان راتلونکي نسلونو موسسې د سپورټ په برخه کې مختلف برنامې ځوانانو ته په لاره اچوي.
د افغانستان د راتلونکي نسلونو نړیوالې موسسې یا EPA په مالي او د کونړ کرکټ ادارې په تخنیکي ادارې د کونړ او لغمان ولایتي لوبډلو ترمنځ د کرکټ سیالۍ د لغمان ولایت په ګټه پای ته ورسېدې. سیلانیانو خوښوي چې ډېر وخت وروسته یې ولایت ته د بل ولایت لوبډله راغلې او د کرکټ له سیالیو خوند اخلي. دوی د FGA نړیوالې موسسې د دا ډول کارونو قدردانۍ کوي چې د کرکټ خوندورې سیالۍ جوړې کړي دي.
Thank you so much, colleagues, for watching the video, and thanks for your patience. So we have tried to reflect all the activities in East region, and we have also tried to have some English subtitle that the translation was in the report was in Pashto language, so it was difficult for you colleagues. That's why we have tried to have some subtitle in the English as well. So hope you have enjoyed the video. Sir Daniel, do you want to say something in?
We enjoyed it very much. It brought us a chance to see inside the work a little bit. And as Luke is saying in the chat, we wish that we would like to have it sent here. If you would please, Saqib, send it to Bruce Holdeman or to Luke or to me. The file will be very useful. I will share it with other donors, but mindful of the time, we just want from our side to keep learning and learning and learning. So as beyond accepting our congratulations now, please keep your presentation going so we can learn more all the time.
Thank you.
Just email us and we'll arrange to have it uploaded to the drive, but we'd love to have it. Please reach out to Bruce and I. Thank you.
Okay,
Looking forward.
Sure. It's actually a draft version, so we would like to work on it more. It was just a draft one, but I just wanted to share with you people. So I will share the link of the video for you to download it, and then you can further work on that. So thank you so much.
Feel free to reach out to us if you would like us to review and give some feedback on it as well. We'd be happy to help look at the draft and help you finalize it.
Okay. That's great. We will share the link. So the objective of my presentation is to provide an overall picture to you of the East region where FGA is working. And this presentation will include a brief explanation of the context overview in terms of security and humanitarian, overview of the FGA in terms of operations, where the office is established and the ongoing projects and the donors, etc. The assistance modalities we use and the monitoring mechanism, that human strengths we have here in East region, and the challenges and lessons learned the FGA colleagues face in Laran, and what the FGA East region plans for the coming year or for the coming months. So you can see the map of the East region. The East region of Afghanistan borders with the Pakistan, and the major part of the Pashtun land. It means that most of the Pashtun people are living in the East region. And it's a tribal part of the country, bordering with Pakistan, Western Pakistan areas. Jalalabad is the capital of the Nangarhar province, and it is the most populated city in the East region. This region is comprised of the Nangarhar, Lagman, Kunar, and Nuristan. It means the poor provinces. The region has flatland areas and in terms of climate, so it has both hot and cool climate. We can feel both seasons, winter and summer, and some mountains, the hot and cool temperatures. The freezing snowballs, particularly in Nuristan. So it's we have 52 districts in the East region. We will further elaborate this in coming slides. So it's just a quick review of the East region provinces and districts. As Dr. Seb elaborated, the humanitarian context of the Afghanistan. So I will just quickly review the security and humanitarian context. I will not go to the detail, but the security situation and the security environment has been improved after the political changes. It means that the EID detonation and the complex attacks and illegal checkpoints in wars. So in these things, we have some decrease. But on the other hand, there are some security issues that are increasing day by day. As per the ENSO reports, we usually receive the NGO staff abduction and the compounding checking, particularly that the DFA authorities have restricted the female and there is ban on the female. So that's why there's sometimes randomly checking the offices that whether the female staff are reporting to office or not, because they have issued a decree that the female should not report to the offices and they are not allowed to work. The risk of the air strikes targeting the TTP members is also increased because the DFA authorities are having some connection with the Pakistan TTP. So there is a chance of the airstrikes as well. We have the witnesses that some of the armed people of the TTP have been killed in Afghanistan. The relationship between the Taliban authorities in Pakistan is deteriorated further, and the political and administrative inexperience in governance, particularly in the subnational level, underpins. It also impacts directly on the humanitarian agencies. They are challenging, they are facing some challenges, and on the other hand, on the private sectors is also directly affects on the private sectors. There are some decrees released by the DFA authorities during the 2022. The first decrees issued in March 2022 that the woman should be accompanied by mahram during the domestic or international flights. The second decree issued in May 2022 that women to wear prescribed forms of hijab and to cover their faces. And there was another decree issued that the women appearing on TV to cover their faces. And during the November 22, there were some restrictions on the female that they cannot go to the parks and they cannot go to the museums, gyms, and these things. And most importantly, a very bad news we received in December 2022 that they released a decree that the woman to not attend the universities. And then later in December 2022, we received another decree from the DPA that women are banned to report to offices. It means that they cannot work in the offices in both national and international organizations, except UN organizations. So it was a security situation throughout Afghanistan and even particularly in the East region. The humanitarian context has been very widely elaborated by Dr. Rahimi, that the collapse of the previous government resulted in a suspension of the direct international development assistance. It means that 75% of the public expenditure was depending on the development activities and on the government jobs in these things. But now, due to the suspension of those direct international development assistance, it has a very big impact on those communities. As in 2023, 28.3 million people, it means 2/3 of the Afghanistan population, need urgent humanitarian assistance. So because of the political change, because of the third consecutive year of drought and the second year of crippling economic decline. The key drivers, as Dr. Saqib Rahimi also elaborated, that the level of economic decline, the high unemployment, the sustained inflation in the key commodities, and the supply chain of the food items through Ukraine and Russia conflict. So the people are having and experiencing some negative coping strategies. The debt and the borrowing system is increased, and some of the people, mostly, I can say most of the people are trying to flee the country, to leave the country. So this is the situation. In reality, 17 million people face acute hunger in 2023, including 6 million at emergency level of the food insecurity. As in IPC analysis, Dr. Saqib Rahimi said that phase 4 is the emergency situation. So one step away from the famine, it means that 6 million of the people are very near to the famine situation, a very highest figures worldwide, I can say in terms of percentage. And the deterioration is expected in the first quarter of the 2023 due to the simultaneous effect of winter in the lean season. The high food prices and the reduced income and unemployment and continued economic decline. The other main driver of the humanitarian need is the traditional gender norms, as we have some restrictions and bans on the female, so which have long reinforced discrimination against the women and girls in Afghanistan. It's also increasing their vulnerability and decreasing their capacity to recover from shocks and leaving them disproportionately affecting during the crisis. Eventually, I can say that multiple studies show that Afghanistan is the worst place in the world to be a woman or a girl, with the situation only deteriorating since the takeover by the Taliban, which continues to fully curtail women and girls. You can also see the picture that lots of the most vulnerable people are trying to catch the food. So this might be a humanitarian agency distributing the food. So this is the vulnerability situation. The IPC acute food insecurity for the East region, so we can summarize that 44% of the East region communities are in phase 3+4. It means that they are in crisis situation and they are in the emergency situation. Phase 3 is the crisis situation and phase 4 is the emergency situation. So we can show the percentage that 40% of the people in Nangarhar and 50% of Lagman, 40% of Kunar, and 50% of Nuristan. Nuristan is fully in crisis situation, sorry, in the emergency situation, phase 4. and the other provinces are in crisis situation in phase 3. So it was the security and humanitarian context analysis of Afghanistan, in particularly for the eastern regions where we have 4 provinces. So let's have an overview of the FGA East region. The establishment of the offices started in back 2007 by starting a partnership with the World Bank, MRRD, for the NSP project. Then in 2013, FGA established and opened its provincial office in Lagman, and that was also in partnership with the World Bank, MRRD, for the NSP project, where the NSP partnership was expanded to the other provinces as well, to Daikundi and Lagman, I think. The operation in Kunar was started in 2013, but FGA top management decided to open the offices in both Kunar and Lagman in 2020. That was a World Bank funded project, the Women Economic Empowerment Rural Development Program. That was also a national program. What is the current operation and coverage of FGA in the Eastern region? Currently, FGA has been operational in all 4 provinces in East region. It has a regional office in Nangarhar and the provincial offices in Nuristan, Lagman, and Kunar. FGA has successfully completed the humanitarian development projects in partnership and partnering with the World Bank, MRRD, IDLG, JICA, US Embassy, DI, USIP, WFP, APO, AHF, and UNICEF. We may have some other donors, but in the East region, we have partnership with the mentioned donors. Currently, we are partnering with the WFP, FAO, AHF, and UNICEF after the political change. So most of the humanitarian funding is provided by the UN organizations, the UN community. So that's why we are mostly partnering with the UN agencies. Out of 51 districts in the East region, we have covered 45 districts. Nangarhar has 22 districts and 9 urban nahiyas. And we have covered 20 of them. Lagman has 6 districts, we have covered 5 of them. Kunar has 15 districts, we have covered 12 of them, and Nuristan has 8 districts, and we have covered, fortunately, we have covered all of them. So this is the current scenario of the FGA East region in terms of operations and coverage. Currently, we are implementing the 11 projects with the 4 partners. With the WP, we have partnership for the 3 projects, and with the FAO for 6 projects, with the AHF for 1 and UNICEF for 1 project. The total number of beneficiaries we are covering and we are supporting is more than 1 million, around 1.5 million households. WP is the largest partner of FGA in the East region. So 594,213 beneficiaries have been covered in partnership with the WP. We are almost 50% of these households are female. 277,433 out of these are female. With the FAO, we are supporting 21,154 households. With the AHF funded projects, we support 1,077. And with the UNICEF, this is our new partner in the East region, and we have just started the partnership, and this this is a kind of new partner, and hopefully we will expand the project with the UNICEF as well and the other regions. The active staff in budget in the East region of FGA is 641. It means that we have 641 staff. 580 of them are male and 61 are female. And all of the 61 female are working from home. Unfortunately, they are not allowed to report to offices and they are working from home. In Nangarhar, where we have most of the staff, the number of staff is 503. In Lagman, we have 68. In Kunar, we have 21. In Nuristan, we have 49 number of staff. If GA East region implement almost 62% of the budget, it means that the East region is having the projects with the more budgets as compared to the other regions. We have $5,684,089 budget for the East region. In terms of budget, WP is again the largest partner of and the largest donor of FGA. We have obtained around $4 million budget from WP and 4 lakh from FAO and 6,25,310 from AHIP and around $500,000 from UNICEF. This is a list of the project we are having here in the East region. So we are implementing the 11 projects in the East region. 3 of them are with WP, 6 of them are with FAO, and 1 with AHIP and 1 with UNICEF. So most of these projects are started in 2022. This is the budget. You can see the target beneficiaries in the budget as well. You can also see the location and the location column, that's Nangarhar, Lagman, Kunar, Nuristan. So this is a quick update of the projects we are currently implementing. This is the East region structure. As we have most of the staff in the East region, so we have a very wide structure for each province. We have the managing director for East region, the MNE focal point, the admin and finance colleagues, the CBT, scope and MIS colleagues based on the Eastern office. And for the provincial office, we have the provincial managers, the project managers, the admin and support staff for each of the provinces. And all of these managers are reporting to the managing director of East region, and the admin finance staff are reporting directly to the admin finance regional office, and so on. We have some assistance modalities. For each donor, we have separate modalities. We are partnering with the WP to provide cash and food assistance. So for that, we have a specific modality: food-based intervention modality and cash-based intervention modality. For the food-based, we have conditional and unconditional, and for the cash-based, we have cash grant, vouchers, and cash for work. We also have some conditional and unconditional and cash, means that cash for work is conditional and non-conditional is where people are not working to receive the cash. This is the FAO assistance modality. In partnership with FAO, we are having 6 projects in the East region. So the cash and inputs modalities are here. WP is providing the food and FAO is providing the inputs. So in terms of cash, we have the UCT, unconditional transfer in cash for work, similar to the WP. And for the inputs modality, we have wheat cultivation packages, machineries, farming tools, agriculture packages, home gardening packages, livestock packages, summer crops, etc. So in partnership with FAO, we are providing some kind of inputs. We have a very strong monitoring system in the East region. The WP, FAO, and ICHIP and other partners are having their monitoring system being implemented and in place here in the East region. So they are having some periodic missions, some periodic monitoring visits. They have their own system of monitoring. They have some kind of feedback mechanisms. So we are regularly receiving the reports from the donors and providing feedback to them. Besides that, we also have some internal FGA East region monitoring system. We have a specific EMINI focal point for the East region. The Kabul EMINI colleagues are also regularly visiting. The top management in the East region are also having some random visits to the project sites, the project managers and the procurement focal point. So this is a combination of some monitoring systems that all of the top level colleagues are directly involved in the monitoring and then reporting to the Kabul. The financial sports checks from the donors are also in place. So the WP is the example that regularly they are visiting the offices, the partners' offices at the end of each year and checking the policies, documents, financial systems, EMINI systems, etc. The WP is also having some performance evaluation system that at the end of each year, WP is evaluating each partner in terms of capacity and quality of the project's financial systems, monetary systems, these things. Usually we provide some corrective action plans when we receive some findings and some observations from the donors. We have lots of achievements and strengths in Eastern region. FGA is the co-chair for the IFSAC Food Security and Agriculture Cluster in East region. This is a kind of competitive system, an election-based selection. So FGA was selected through voting system, and to co-chair this food cluster means that we are the largest body and we are implementing most projects in the East region for the food security. So that's why the donors and the other NGOs selected FGA to co-chair this cluster. FGA East region is working independently, means that FGA is submitting the concept, the East region from the East region office, the proposals, and very strong communication system and networking system with the donor agencies and with all stakeholders, as well as we have a very complete structure, means that all the positions are in place in our structure for the East region. We have provincial managers, EMINI focal points, procurement focal points, finance, admin, HR. So it means that all the staff required for the managerial level is in place. FGA East region plays the role of a learning center to other NGOs. Means that as a role model, the other NGOs have been requested by the donors to come and have some exchanges of ideas and visit the FGA distribution sites as a model and learn from this. FGA colleagues were requested to share their experiences, to share the innovations FGA East Region colleagues have done in the East Region. And at the same time, the FGA other provinces have also been requested to visit the FGA East Region. Recently, we hosted Nimroz and Herat colleagues in the Nangarhar province to visit our distribution areas, to visit our implemented projects, to provide some presentations, lesson learning experiences. FGA has 15 years of experience in the East Region in having a very good familiarity with the local context and the community culture in these things. We have specific databases and tracking systems for progress and data collection. We have a very good qualified staff in the East Region. Most of the staff have experiences in the NSP since 2007. There are some colleagues that they have joined the FGA in 2007 during at the beginning of the establishment of the FGA East Region office, and currently they are working. So they have a very good experience in NSP, CCIP, VRDP, and other humanitarian projects. They have a very good experience in WP, FAO, UNDP funded projects. So this is a strength of the FGA East Region. They're securing a very good, committed and qualified staff, a very senior staff. FGA East Region is a very popular name. FGA is a very popular name here in the East Region. I think if anyone asks anybody in the East Region, so I'm sure they will know the name of the FGA, because we are having a very wide operational areas. We are serving 1.5 million of the beneficiaries here. So popularity is on the peak for the FGA here in East Region. This is because of the quality implementation. This is because of the very good communication and linkage with the donor and communities. We have a very good coordination with the line departments, with the Director of Economies, MRRD, Agriculture, Inland, DOLSA, provincial authorities, district governors. We also have a very good coordination with the regional offices of the donors. So it's a regional office. In the regional offices in other provinces, we don't have donor offices. WP, FAO, UCHA, all these donor agencies are having offices only in Nangarhar. We have a very strong coordination with other stakeholders like Akbar, ENSO, local DDS, CDCs. We do have some guidelines. I have also shared one of the guidelines with Professor Daniel for the WP funded projects. We have also developed for the FAO funded projects. So we have some implementation guidelines. We do have some regular attendance records in the provincial and regional level meeting. Eventually, we can say that FGA is strongly accepted by the communities here in the East Region. In spite of all these strengths and achievements we have some challenges as well. During the implementation, we face some challenges. After the political change, we have faced lots of challenges, and we are currently facing these. But we do have some proper mechanism and some local solutions for that. We are trying our best to cope and to mitigate these risks and challenges. After the political change, the personal security of the NGOs colleagues was a matter of discussion. There were a brand then in the country. The people, the educated people, the experienced people were leaving the country. There was a turnover in the staff. So it was a kind of hard situation for all the NGOs. And it was a challenge that how to maintain the staff, how to run the projects in such a situation. It was a challenge. And currently we are facing such challenges. The banking system limitations, the cash transactions, these are the challenges, these are the risks. Currently, the banking system is near to collapse in Afghanistan. People are not trusting on the banks. The cash transactions are very risky. There is a risk of cash robbery, there is a risk of corruptions. So this is a challenge to us. We do have another challenge that the lack of fixed term and long-term contracted employees is also a matter of discussion because we don't have the senior staff for the long-term contracts, and the job security is a matter to them. So that's why they are searching for the new jobs. So how to cope and how to mitigate this risk needs some discussions, needs some support. The lack of cash in hand is also a burning issue because we have some kind of big projects, some kind of large procurement needed for those projects. There are some logistical need. So for that, we need money in hand. And unfortunately, we don't have cash in hand to implement the projects on time. So it directly impacts on the project's delivery. So it sometimes delays the project activities. The restriction of female staff is a very burning issue nowadays. The female staff is restricted. There is a very strong ban on them. They cannot come to office. So the challenge is that on one hand, we cannot access to the vulnerable female. It's very hard for the male staff because culturally, male cannot go and enter the house and discuss and have some interviews with the female. The female-driven activities, qualities will be declining. And on the other hand, there would be a workload on male because all female are working from home. And so from home, they cannot directly support us. So there are some activities that specifically need women. So there is a workload on the men. The interest of DPS sectors and the NGOs operation, each line department wants to be the line department of FGA in the East region because there are some personal interests, there are some influence.
Pardon me, Saqib, this is Daniel. I am very sad, but I really must interrupt because we are now half an hour over the planned schedule for a number of people who have other appointments. Admittedly, we started 15 minutes late, but so we're running now of 15 minutes plus another 15 minutes. So I'm going to ask you to wrap up your presentation, which is absolutely excellent, much appreciated, but we don't have time to keep going. And then I believe Dr. Rahimi also wanted to make a presentation today. We will move that presentation until tomorrow. This is really important information. So if you want to just give us in 2 or 3 minutes about your future plans for the Eastern region, where you're doing so much, then I will do that. But I will have to shorten this program, end this program very soon. Thank you so much. Do you want to make some final comments?
No issue, no problem. So I will wrap up the presentation. I will directly jump to the last slide. So this is the future plan for the East region. What we want to do in the next coming months. So we want to expand these projects. We are partnering with the UN agencies, WP, FAO, and UNICEF. So want to expand these partnerships to, for example, we are having partnership with WP only in Nangarhar and Lagman. So we want to expand this to other provinces, Nuristan and Kunar. And the same case for the other donors as well. we are prioritizing the partnership with the donor for each province based on the donor strategies. Sometimes we directly have some bilateral meeting with the donors and ask them for their strategies, a partnership with FGA for the future. So sometimes they give us some insights and then we follow that. So this is the future plan that we will follow the donor strategy. And initiating partnership with the new donors is also included in our future plan. So we have the UNDP here. We are having partnership with the UNDP in the Western region. So we have conducted some bilateral meeting with the UNDP in East region, and we want to start the partnership here. The UN Women is another donor, new donor. The Grow Further is another new donor. We are in contact with them. Enhancing the staff capacity through provision of trainings and sharing experiences is also the plan. We luckily we have enrolled some management staff to the Future Generation University courses, particularly the MNE course. So we have some staff enrolled in that. And we want to make more stronger the procurement and financial system here, bringing some new kind of softwares and technologies, as Sahijada is working on that as well. And finally, we want to make the FGA as a role model for other NGOs in the East region. So there are some pictures. You can see the pictures of our activities. These are from Nangarhar. I think I should go ahead. So this is also some activities in Nangarhar. These are some resilience program activities, construction, infrastructure. These activities are from Lagman. And these are from Kunar. These are from Kunal too. And these pictures are from Nuristan province. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much, and sorry that I took some longer time, and thanks a lot for the patience. So I'm here for you if you have some questions.
Well, you took time because you were doing so much work. And so congratulations and applause. We are very, very impressed, not only with your presentation, but also with Dr. Rahimi's that came earlier. And we're looking forward very much to the presentations tomorrow. But we do have other appointments here in the university, the people who are waiting to join these other appointments. So please know that we're eager to hear the presentations tomorrow, and we will start promptly. Tomorrow we'll have the software problem worked out, and tomorrow we will go for an hour and 15 minutes. And my deep appreciation, but I want everybody who's listening from the whole FGA team to know that your colleagues here in the United States and board member in Tunisia and as Chris in Spain and other colleagues that are from part of the world family, we're all very proud and we're honored to be working with you. And these meetings are a sign of our sincere interest and our deep appreciation for the difficulties that you face. They are extreme difficulties in one of the most difficult places. And we recognize that, and thanks to each and every one of you. And we hope that you and your families are safe and healthy as we go forward in this very important work. But with great regrets, I have to end this meeting now. And we look forward tomorrow to hearing the report at the scheduled time. And we will be meeting tomorrow on this Zoom room. So please keep this Zoom link for the meeting tomorrow. And we will send out an invitation as well, so that we don't have the problem we had this morning. But thank you very much. Our applause and our congratulations.
You are most welcome. You are most welcome. And once again, I would like to thank you for taking your time and for your patience. And it's a very pleasure time. Thank you so much. I think so we have to stop now, and I think we don't have other presentations for today, yeah? So we will come tomorrow. We'll join tomorrow.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So our appreciation again. Good one.